2 years ago, I started this dividend portfolio with nothing but my empty dreams and $0 in the Momo Singapore app. My dream was to one day turn it into a retirement account that can potentially fund all my wildest ideas that I ever had. After months of planning and even to the point of doing intermittent fasting to save money, I finally crossed the $50,000 mark this month. But how did I actually achieve this? It's simple. Every single month, whenever I got my paycheck, I would follow this plan. First, I'll calculate all the money that I made from the different income sources since I started my YouTube channel, then calculate all the expenses that I have for the month itself, and finally calculate what I have left to invest and save. You can't just expect to invest in some rubbish stock and pray that it gives you back a good return, so I'll show you exactly what I invested in this month itself that will guarantee my YOLO dreams in the future. So let's first start with calculating all the income sources in August. So the first income source will be interest earned from a high interest bank account. So I've earned a total of $87.94 from bank interest. What I use for this specifically is the UOB One bank account, and I pair it specifically with the UOB One credit card for cashback. I'll leave the links to all the different income sources down below in the description box so that you guys can feel free to check them out and also develop your own income sources. So the second income source will be dividends from my dividend investing portfolio. I received 2 dividend paychecks this month itself. The first one will be from DBS and I received a whopping $54. So if you guys have been following my channel, you realize that I've only recently started investing into the DBS stock, and that's only for the last 2 months itself. So it's actually quite nice to be receiving some dividends so early on in this sort of journey and process, which is pretty nice. The second dividend payout will be from the Singapore savings bonds, and I received a total of $75.25. This brings the total for dividends income to $129.25. Seeing all this money is great, but you must also know a little bit about the specifics of how much money I'm using in order to earn this kind of return. So for the UOB One account, I have about $30,000 or so in it. The Singapore savings bonds, I have about $35,000 invested as well. And for the dividend portfolio, around $40,000+. And for DBS itself, I have around $7,000+ invested. So all this money do count in order to see how much money you're able to earn from the interest itself. The third income source will be from my custom G-Shock side hustle. So I started selling custom G-Shock watches as a hobby a year ago, and I've been documenting this on my channel. It was a really fun experiment because I could customize these cool G-Shock watches and I could sell them on Carousel, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, and then I can, use that money and use all the things that I've learned to create content for my YouTube channel for you guys, which was actually a pretty fun process, and it had this sort of infinite content creation loop in that sense. But of course, I'm not doing them as actively as before because the interest has already fizzled out a little bit, and I'm just doing this to clear the remaining stock and earn some extra cash every single month. So I sold a total of 2 watches this month itself, and I earned $175.80. The fourth income source was actually something really interesting because it's actually a payout from the government, and I received a total of $200. So this does not happen every month, just every now and then, so it will be just a temporary thing just for this month itself. The fifth income source will be earning monthly income through selling options. So I own Alibaba stock, and every month I sell options on the Momo Singapore platform in order to earn some passive income in that sense. So I earned a total of $234 USD from selling options, which just about amounts to around $300 SGD. So it sounds like a lot, but I'm using a relatively big account to earn this money, somewhere in the ballpark of around $50,000, and the returns are not guaranteed because of how risky the options are. So if this is something that you guys want to dabble in, then you definitely have to be a little bit careful with it. Yeah, I think those of you guys who are a little bit around my age, as 30 years old, and you want to get started investing, the options are probably not your first choice. The way I actually put all the income sources, even though they are smallest to biggest, they are also in the order where I would also sort of encourage you in order to invest to some degree as well, which is going for the high interest bank account first, slowly building your sort of risk tolerance, and after a while you can actually invest in higher risk things like dividends, individual stocks, ETFs, any of these kind of things that actually fit your risk profile. The most important thing is not about making the most amount of money. The most important thing is actually being able to sleep at night while your money is being invested and you don't panic sell the next day when you wake up. The last and final income source will be the biggest, and it belongs to my full-time job as a physio in Singapore. So after CPF deductions, I earned a total of $10,500 this month. I worked a bit more this month and I saw more patients, so the income was a little bit higher than the previous months. But if you total everything in, I've earned a total of $11,392.99. I said other things like YouTube income that's coming in, but I haven't really added in because number one, it is so small and I haven't exactly gotten a payout. So for YouTube income, you need to hit around $150 sort of threshold before they are releasing that money out to you. And of course, my YouTube channel is small. I just got monetized guys, last month itself, so the payout isn't as great. I think it's about $40 to $50 as of now, so it's just still building. I'll probably get the payout in about 3 months or 2 months from now, so it's still not a big hurry. I don't want to add it in and sort of confused and complicate things in that sense. But of course, when it gets significant enough in the future, I will definitely share it on my channel as well. So that's step 1 of calculating all my income for the month itself. Now we move on to step 2, which is the expenses part. If you watched this previous video on my channel on the August Money Diaries, you will know that I spent a total of $2,723.84. This was way lower than July, and I'm actually quite proud of myself for being able to save so much more. That means that we'll be able to invest or save even more this month itself. The day-to-day expenses are definitely important, but there are also some extra components to the monthly expenses that I started to save for as well. So these are 3 main categories specifically. Number 1 will be the sinking fund, number 2 will be the travel fund, and number 3 would be taxes. I want to be saving for all these 3 things because I realized that whenever I have to spend for all these 3 things, they just sort of magically come out of my bank account, and I don't buffer or plan for things like that. So you cannot just get money out of thin air. You definitely have to plan for it. What I'm going to do for these 3 buckets is, for the sinking fund itself, I'm going to allocate $500 every month. The travel fund, I'm going to allocate $600 every month, and the taxes fund, I'm going to allocate $300. So far I have around $1,000 in the sinking fund and 1.8k in the travel fund. I don't know how, but I totally forgot about the taxes, and I didn't save for anything for taxes for the last 3 to 4 months, and I definitely have to sort of buffer and put in a lot more because of this month itself. I'm earning a little bit more luckily this month, so I'm going to put all that money into the taxes. So if I add all this into the August expenses, it brings it to a whopping $5,023.84. Suddenly the income doesn't seem so much anymore, does it? Now comes the final step of the plan, which is how much to invest and save. I will first have to take out the income earned by options because I usually leave that in the Momo Singapore app to accumulate. That leaves me with $11,092.99. So if you subtract that by $5,023.84, I'll be left with $6,069.15. So since I'm saving religiously for my house, I will take $3,069.15, which is a very nice number, and put it into my UOB1 account. That leaves me with around $3,000. So even though this is technically put into savings, it is still very liquid, and I'm still earning a high interest of 3% per year on this $3,000 over dollars that I'm putting aside to save for my house. So that leaves me with $3,000 to invest for the month itself. Technically, I also borrowed $821 last month to purchase DBS stock because DBS is relatively expensive, and you need over $3,500 just to purchase 100 shares of DBS because the DBS stocks are quite expensive. They're around $35, and your minimum buy-in is around 100 shares, which is $3,500 depending on the stock price at that point of time. So I'm going to repay the $820 as well, which means that I only have $2,200 left to invest for the month itself. So I do want to continue buying DBS shares as well because I think the whole portfolio itself, I do have quite a bit in CapitaLand Mall REITs, which is about 20 grand, about 20 other grand in Ascendas REITs as well. Only DBS stock has about $7,000 plus, so I want to continuously buy DBS shares so that it raises the amount of DBS share that I have in the portfolio itself, so that it kind of evens out my exposure to real estate and bank in that sense. So what I'm going to do now is actually I'm not going to buy any DBS share because $2,200 is not enough to buy the DBS share. I'm going to deposit the full amount into the Momo Singapore app first to live it and invest into DBS the next month. So since the account was already sitting at around $47,000 to $48,000 after this deposit, I will finally be at a nice milestone of $50,000. Even if I stop investing for the rest of my life, assuming all things stay unchanged and I continue to earn 5% dividend yield every single year, that brings it to a nice $2,500 of pure passive income. So if this sounds as exciting and awesome to you, then you might just want to embark on your journey to start investing and let your money work for you as well. Hopefully this video gives you guys a clearer idea of how I save, earn and invest my money, and inspires you guys to do the same thing in your life as well. If you enjoyed this video here, then you'll probably enjoy this video here on the real cost of living in Singapore. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next few videos. Bye bye.